Hey everybody, Tio from Art Geek Teaching. Today I'm going to look at doing a panel. This is just a 12 by 12 cradled panel that I have taped up. It's going to end up with resin over it. But I want to take some jelly papers, and actually this is just a slop board. This is where I clean off my brayer when I'm jelly printing. I'm going to take this and adhere it to my panel, and then I just made a mask in Photoshop to go through some of my other jelly papers. I'm going to end up cutting this stencil out of this golden jelly paper and just simply putting it over the top of the other one and making a really simple collage, but I think it'll look good with resin. I want to do some resin testing, and so that'll be a great way to do it. So first thing I have to do, figure out where I want my 12 by 12 piece to go on this. And so, easiest way to do that is to make a 12 by 12 viewing frame that we can choose the best area of our sheet. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, I just have a sheet of railroad board, and I don't have to get too picky about this. I'll leave myself a couple marks, and then I'm just going to draw around it. Okay, I'm just going to cut this out, and then we'll use it to view the best area. I don't know if you can even see that. Okay, so what we did was we just cut this out. This is, of course, the positive shape, which should match the outside of my panel. Easy. And then we have the negative shape, and what that will allow us to do is just peek over my piece that is going on the bottom, and I can choose whatever I want from here. Keeping in mind that I will have my horse already cut out. So I'm going to cut this horse out by hand. I was considering printing it on my brother, which is like a cricket, but I'm not sure how it'll work. I don't want to ruin the paper. I only have one of them, but I may still end up testing that, and if it tests on some other papers, I may risk it. It would save me from having to cut it out by hand. So anyway, time will tell on that. But anyway, I'm going to choose where I want this, and then I'm just going to make a little mark. And so, again, this is going to be my shape, right? And so it's going to be gold. Where is that going to fit in the best? One thing I'm keeping in mind here is value. I'm probably going to be in this lighter area, because if these were black and white, these values are going to be fairly close. And so I want to have a little bit more contrast. So I'll probably stick down in this area. So let's just do it that way. Yep, I think I'll just do it like so. This value here is going to be darker than we want, but I'm just going to go ahead and mark this. What I'm going to do is just go ahead and mark this to where I can cut it, and it'll give me room on the outside. I can mount it on my board, and then I'll cut it from the board when it's done. I'm going to go cut this on the cutter. Okay, same thing, you've seen this a million times. Gonna glue this, or rather put some glue on it. And we're gonna put some glue, I say, on the paper as well. And again, I'm just using matte medium, gel medium. Now, if I were going to try and use encaustic on this, I wouldn't be doing it this way. I think there's a better way to do it with encaustic rather than trying to use acrylics, because acrylics and encaustics really don't go well together. All right, move this out of the way. This is my whole paper. The biggest thing about this, and it's less particular when we're going to be using resin, but we want to get as many of the bubbles out as possible. And again, this paper that these were done on was regular 20-pound bond paper, and so it's very, very thin, has a tendency to wrinkle, not play nice, but it's all good. We can make it work. Okay. The other thing we have found out through our tests, that's in our book, is we got to be really, really careful. I did not seal this, so I got to be really, really careful with this until it's sealed. I'm not going to put anything over it. Okay, that is really good. I'm gonna flip it over, clean off the back side. Handy dandy baby wipes. If you clean that off, it will work much better for you. You could also use paper towels here. Okay, I just want to make sure I get all four sides wiped down so I don't have that buildup of plastic. Looks good. Got one little rip in there already. Gotta be so super careful with this. It's crazy how tender that paint is. Again, I could not do this if I were using encaustic, but we're not using encaustic. So I'm just gonna glue that piece back down with a little bit of matte medium. When this is all done, I'm gonna go ahead and go over the top of this just so I don't damage it. Okay, and here I'm just sealing the top of that with that gel medium, just trying to give it a little bit of protection while we continue to work with it. Okay, in this next section, we're going to zip through it. I am simply cutting out my stencil with an X-Acto knife. I have traced it lightly, and that's it. Yeah, just cutting it out. So I'm going to speed this up. Okay, I trimmed off the sides of my panel. You saw that. I cut out my horse, and I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut a round partial circle here and see if I want to put in whatever, a sun or something behind this horse. I'm not sure I want to, but I'm going to go ahead and cut it out and go from there. I for sure want to put a ground on it. So the question is, do I think this looks better like this, or with a moon behind it or a sun behind it? I'm more thinking like a little tiny bit. Like that. So, that or that. I wish I'd watched this video before I finished gluing the pieces together. It's very obvious that it needs a background at this point. At least from this perspective and looking at it this way. When I was doing it, I couldn't see it. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I want a ground under him. So let's do that first. So this would be a ground. The other thing I could do is just take a pen and put some, or a paintbrush, put some lines right across there. I don't know. I'm gonna think on that for just a minute. Okay, I've decided I cannot use the moon because it's not big enough, I think it would have to come all the way to the horizon, which would mean it would be down here. And I think it'd kind of look weird. So the sun or moon or whatever that is, that's out. But he does need to be grounded. And so kind of have a horizontal line here. I think what I'll do is take a piece of the cutoff, and in a couple of them, we've got some lines that I thought we could, line up with that. This one actually seems to work pretty good. If I line this little bit of piece up, and I cut this off, it can flow across here and still kind of look like it was meant to be. I'll cut this maybe as a triangle. I don't know. But I think that will give me enough ground, and I still have this part here that I really liked. I could even go in and make this a little more pronounced. So I'm just gonna do that first. I'm gonna cut this off. Actually, I'm just gonna, I don't know yet if I want this. You can't really see that. I don't know yet if I want this at an angle or not. So I'm going to cut this first, or paste this first, I should say. Again, in retrospect, it is so obvious, even just looking at this, that this piece is not going to work. The value of that gold horse is really close to the same value as everything behind it, and so it is, you're not even going to be able to see it. That speaks so highly to the fact that you really need to step back from your work every once in a while and look at it, and even set it aside and come back to it later. I do that with work that I consider a commission or something that I'm going to keep, but usually not in practice, and I should do it in practice too. Think like this. So the question is, do we want this at an angle or not? Again, this is going to be, this is not going to be wax. This is going to be resin, so not too worried about it. If this were going to be wax, we would not want to be doing this with matte medium. Okay, I think what we'll do is cut this dude off, and then we'll decide whether we want it on or off. Oh yeah, off. Totally off. Alright, I'm okay with that. I'm going to go ahead and paste him down, let that dry. While that's drying, we'll get ready for some resin. My brush is falling apart because it's a cheesy brush. Okay, as soon as that is dry, we'll throw some resin on it, call it good. We'll probably dry that with the hair dryer so I can get resin on it tonight. There you have it. Okay, I did not put any resin on this piece, and here's why. I consider this at this point a failure, and the reason is because you can barely even see that horse. And I wish I would have looked at this video, as I've mentioned a couple times in here, or even at the very least taken some pictures on my phone and flipped it to black and white. Look at what happens. If I would have just done that, or even stepped away for a little bit, then I would have known that the piece wasn't going to work like I wanted it to. So anyway, we'll see what happens with this. I will try and figure out a way we can save it, but for now it's going to be set aside. Thanks for joining me.